everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Hi, hello, my name is Zoe. Most people know me as Reptiles though, and we are celebrating 𝘖𝙪𝙪. If you don't know what 𝘖𝙪𝙪 is, it is a month-long celebration. It is basically my reptile keeper version of Vlogmas. So here on YouTube, we do tons of videos that are Christmas based or have a purpose for Christmas. And over on Instagram, it's a whole month of giveaways from your favorite reptile businesses. So make sure to follow over on Instagram so you don't miss those. But today's video, we are joined by Grinchy here in the background, my green iguana. And we are going to do an annual video that I always do. And that is my updated current reptile and amphibian wish list. I do this every year because it's constantly changing. As the years have gone on, it's gotten a little more exciting. If you don't know, I have a reptile and amphibian education business. So I travel to schools, libraries, birthday parties, you name it. So my wish list has gone from reptiles I'd really love to own someday to still being that, but also keeping in mind education. What animals would be good educators, whether it's a conservation standpoint, a cool topic, they're just a little bit more handleable, or a good hands-on animal. So every year my list changes, but this year I think my list has probably changed the most. And different from other years, I'm not putting them in an order. I'm still doing my top 10, but outside of that, I'm not putting them in an order because I don't think I could. Because I've also gotten animals that were on my wish list. So a sailfin dragon used to be like one of my number ones. I have a sailfin dragon now. A banana iguana, I have a banana iguana now. And I feel like out of all of the years I've done this video, I feel like this one is my favorite of my lists. So let's jump right in. In no particular order, the first thing I have down is a 𝘎𝙪𝙨. Super underrated. I love 𝘎𝙪𝙨. And I never saw this coming, but my 𝘎𝙪𝙨 is one of the most popular animals that I bring to shows and to programs. So 𝘎𝙪𝙨s are just kind of like oversized euros, but also combining them with like bearded dragons. 𝘎𝙪𝙨s are just so cool and so underrated and not a very commonly seen species being kept. So as an educator, it would be cool to have something that most people haven't seen or don't know of or can't easily find in the pet trade. And just as someone that loves 𝘎𝙪𝙨s, I feel like 𝘎𝙪𝙨s would just be so cool. So I really want a 𝘎𝙪𝙨. Next is a monkey tail skink. Now this one has been on my list probably almost every year. I love skinks. Skinks in general are some of my favorite lizard groups besides iguanas. And monkey tails, I never wanted until I worked with one at a zoo. And I was like, you know what? They're so goofy looking that they're cute, but also they're so cool from like a conservation standpoint, which makes me really want one for education. And I love that they're a little more arboreal. I'm a sucker for arboreal lizards, so I would love a monkey tail skink. Next on the list, Madagascar hognose. Hognoses are one of my favorite species of snakes. And there's two things I love in life. It's hognose snakes and big reptiles. So combine the two, I would love a Madagascar hognose. Next up, and this one will always and forever be on my list, so you shouldn't be surprised if you've seen this video before, and that is a red-sided garter. I'm a sucker for blue animals, so the fact that these snakes have bright red and bright blue, they're stunning, they're gorgeous, but again, it's got blue on it and they're just so pretty. Next up, this is another one that you guys should have expected, a Grand Cayman hybrid iguana. At this point, I just want all of the iguanas, but the Grand Caymans especially. I went to Grand Cayman years ago on a cruise. I really wanted to go see the iguanas. We were on the wrong side of the island, unfortunately, so I didn't get to see them. Obviously, they're highly endangered, so you can't keep them as pets. The hybrids are kind of like the next best thing, so I can still work that topic into shows and programs that I do. So I would love a Grand Cayman hybrid. Next up, this, I don't know how many people actually know this. A jungle carpet python was the first animal that I've seen at an expo, my very first expo, where I was like, I want that and I'm going to have it someday. A corn snake was the first snake that I ever wanted, but jungle carpet python was my first reptile expo. I walked in, I saw the bright yellow and black, and I was like, that is the most stunning snake I have ever seen. I want one so bad. To this day, I still don't have one, but I still really want one. And I still remember walking into the expo and just being blown away by them. At that point, I really didn't know much about reptiles. Like every other beginner, I asked for a bearded dragon or leopard gecko for Christmas. I didn't get one, but I was on a college visit and took my little sister to the reptile expo because it was happening that weekend. And I was like, let's go check it out. And that was the first time I'd ever seen a jungle carpet python, and I was blown away. So I still really want one, but it has to be bright yellow and black. I actually have a spot saved here in the new reptile room for one. So I'm not saying it's gonna happen anytime soon, but I'm just saying, I kept in mind when I was doing the layout where one would go someday. Next up is a caiman lizard, another one that was never really on my radar. I love them, I think they're beautiful, but it wasn't something I thought I could realistically keep until I met the caiman lizards that Crosstown Exotics had. If you don't know who they are educators out of the Chicago area. And when I went to Tinley Park one year, I got to meet their caimans, I got to hold one, and I absolutely fell in love. In love. And I, at this point, have several animals that are snail eaters. So at this point, my life has just become, you know what, they eat snails, it is what it is. So I am no longer in a position where caiman lizards are kind of like an unrealistic thing for me. I'm now in a position where I'm like, I could totally do a caiman lizard and I could totally make it work. So I would love to get one someday. The problem is I would want a captive bred one. I want an adult, and it's gotta have a good attitude, obviously. So we'll see if that ever actually happens. The next one, this is a new one to my list that I've never talked about before, but over the last year it has risen very quickly up to the top, and that is a Mexican indigo. So I cannot keep an Eastern indigo without proper permits here in New York. But the indigos I think are just absolutely stunning. They're nice big snakes, and quite frankly, I need more big snakes. I really don't have very many, and as an educator, that's just something I need. Most of my snakes are on the smaller side. So I would love Mexican indigo, because Mexican indigos, I won't need that same permit that I would need for an Eastern indigo, but they're just as gorgeous and nice and big. So I've got a friend that actually breeds them. So she's actually the one that suggested them to me, and we've been in contact. So again, not something that's happening anytime soon, but it is something I do plan to have in the future. I don't know how long away that future is, but it's definitely not anytime soon. But in the future, that species is definitely on my radar. So now we have the leopard tortoise. You guys should have seen this coming if you know me. The leopard tortoise is my absolute favorite species of tortoise. I was actually saving space for a leopard tortoise before I ended up with Lemon, my sulcata tortoise, who is about the size of a leopard tortoise. So right now, leopard tortoise plans are on hold, but I still do really want one. Now, the only amphibian to make the list this year, yellow spotted climbing toad. This is another one I owe my obsession to Crosstown Exotics because they introduced me to them, but they're not toads you can find readily available, but they are beautiful. They're blue, so again, there's my obsession with blue reptiles and amphibians, but they're blue with bright yellow spots. Absolutely stunning. I want some so bad. It's been several years since I was introduced to them at Tinley by Crosstown Exotics, and to this day, they are still my #1 amphibian that I want. And I am always keeping my eye out for them and have yet to get my hands on them. So that is this year's wish list of reptiles. Let me know what you think. Are there any on this list that you also are interested in? Maybe there's some you think I should add to my list as an educator. Let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to follow on Instagram for all the 𝘖𝙪𝙀 giveaways, and I will see you for the next video. Bye!